Okay, hello. So, I was working on this dress outfit, and let me fix my thing here. I was fixing this outfit up, and I thought that I'd like to have some decoration on it, so I decided to go with a daisy chain, and just little daisies going around the bottom of this top part of the skirt. And so I've made a couple to start with just to show you how they end up. But let me go ahead and make one for you, and you can see how I had done it. I'm going to turn off the in sync button here, and that's so that I can work in here without every single thing I do being updated, and this way it'll just all get updated at once. So creating a polygon here, I'm going to just go ahead and you can actually do it on the pattern piece if you want, because this does create things in layers. And what I've done with this is exactly what I'm going to show you now. Is I've made a like a six-sided shape, and it doesn't have to be perfect. Probably being a little unperfect is what gives it its charm, I think. So I've created a six-sided shape, and I'm going to use the create a curve tool just to make these curves. I'm not shaping them or anything, I'm just making them curves. And then I can use the edit curve point button here to zoom in a little bit and start creating the petals on my flower. And I found for this type of a flower look that just 2 points is pretty good. So I'm going to just use this on each petal, and I can shape them the way that I want. Each one can be different. It gives it that really cute look, I think. Some makes them a little bit bigger, some a little smaller. And there we go. That's pretty good. It's a little bit bigger than these ones, which is what I wanted, but not quite big enough. So let me select it, use my transform pattern button just to scale it up a tiny bit. There we go. And clicking back on the edit pattern button, I'm going to right mouse click and choose copy as internal shape. I can then use Control V to paste that shape, and I'll click here because this is where I want it. So when I click off everything, you'll see this one is a red line and this one is black. This means red is internal line. Now I've used the actual free sewing for this, not the segment sewing. The segment sewing goes, like, you know, from notch to notch, or dot to dot, having the notches in there. Free sewing allows you to sew any part, beginning and ending, wherever you want. For these ones, I've started at the top and I've worked my way completely around, sewing the entire thing onto it. So you could start, let's say, here, and bring your mouse down. I'm not pressing anything, I'm just moving my mouse up to about here. And then I have to match that on the other side. That's one place that the dots are good, the points, so that you know exactly where you've started and stopped. But I can go ahead and pretty much guess that this is about where I started, and that this is about where I stopped. There we go. And now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to sync it. After it gets done syncing, you're going to kind of notice that this actually looks a lot choppier than we want it. So let me pull back here, and let me get this piece where it belongs. Side, and let's pull this closer. And before I simulate it, this is what I mean. Do you see how this is a much choppier shape now? It doesn't quite fit the curves. Well, that's because by default, Marvelous Designer is set at a 20 particle distance. I actually have mine default set at 10 particle distance for this particular project. But what this means is that when you see the mesh on this outfit, all of these vertices, all of the points where these edges meet, These are all 10 millimeters away from each other. If we decrease that distance, we get much more geometry. The more geometry we get, the finer the detail we can get. So, particle distance works per pattern piece. So I'm going to click on the pattern piece, and I'm going to change this particle distance to 5. Let that go ahead and update. And as soon as it's done, we can see what happens. See, now it fits into the round shape a lot better than it did before. Let me go ahead and do that. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to simulate it. And you can see at the top here where I didn't sew, remember? It's actually going to be open like a pocket. As soon as that gets done updating. There we go. So you can see this is like a pocket now. So we have pockets and patches, and you can do all kinds of fun stuff with this. And the particle distance, it's very, very laggy for Marvelous Designer to go 10 or below. You usually want to stay about 20. Unless you need something with fine detail, then take it down to 15. See how that works for you, and then try 10 if you want to. It's all going to be dependent on what kind of a look you're going for, and how much geometry you need to achieve that. Okay, so a preview now. It's not out yet. It is a beta item, but Marvelous Designer is going to be bringing piping into our toolbox here. This has a few bugs left with it. I'll probably run across one showing it to you. It also has an unfinished aspect to it, and I'll show you that as well. So with piping, what it does is it allows you to add a piped edge to your pattern pieces. So if I click on this, and you'll see all the edges are outlined in white where you can actually put this piping at. So let me come in here. You see I'm hovering over this corner here, this spot. So if I left mouse click and drag my mouse around, it will come to the end, and I can keep going with it sometimes. I found that it doesn't always go all the way around. So I'm going to stop right there, let this update, and as soon as it updates, you're going to see piping there. So there we go. Now let me show you what happens. The end of it does not look so good. So let's say if I added more piping here, and I went around a couple more of these. This one's actually going to go all the way around for me. I'm kind of, whoop, nope, it didn't. So let me see. Alright, you see that it kind of jumps, and I think that's kind of a bug. You would think that it wouldn't reline itself up where I've already got some. So let me go ahead and just end here. And you do that by giving it an extra click. And come on. So I gave it a little double click there, and it finally accepted it. And as soon as I get done updating, there. You can see it's got some twists, it's got some bends, it's got ends that do not flow together very nicely at all. So there's a few issues with the piping still. You cannot edit it. So if I put the sync on, and it straightens itself out a little bit, that's not too bad. You can't edit the piping. You can't manipulate it and move it. It's part of the pattern piece. So if you move the pattern piece, it will move. But it itself does not move. You cannot adjust it or try and change it or flip it or shape it or anything. You can only draw it where you want it along the edges, and then that's pretty much it. Hopefully with enough feedback from people that are doing this beta version, and I'll be sending mine in, Marvelous Designer will take a look at some of these things and maybe upgrade them or make them a little bit better. Anyways, so this was piping, patches, pockets. If you want to, please subscribe to the channel. Make sure you share our videos and give us a thumbs up if you like. And happy creating!